Hi everyone, today I will be reviewing Mechanic Studios MS-20 Iron Sky, otherwise known as the Legends or Legends Plus scale of Astrotrain. And here's the front of the box with some artwork. You move on to the side, you see a picture of the bot mode. On the back, there's more pictures of the bot mode as well as the accessories. You see a description of the space shuttle, a description of the locomotive train over here. And then more artwork on the side, that's the same as the front. On the top you see sort of like a blueprint graphic of, the shuttle mode as well as the bot mode. And then on the bottom there's the safety warnings and more pictures of the different modes. So let's get him open. And here he is out of the box. He's packaged in his bot mode with his weapons and then another accessory over here. He also comes with 2 sheets of instructions. The first one to convert him from robot to train mode, and the second one to convert the train mode into his shuttle mode. And here he is out of the package. Now right out of the box you will notice that he's got really loose knees that go like that with really unsightly gaping holes. The whole point is to make sure that it's tapped into this slot over here. So once that's done, on both sides, his knees look better now. And on the back you will notice that his backpack is kind of swinging around wildly. So what you gotta do is make sure that this slot is tapped into this peg over here, like so, and then there is also a slot over here that will peg in over here. So once that's done, the connection should be more secure. On the whole, he's mostly grey in his robot mode, but let's zoom in on some of his sculpted and painted details. So over here you can see he's got very nicely and sharply applied yellow paint on his helmet. He's got white paint on his face, red on his eyes, and then his wings are casted in purple plastic, but then painted with grey on the front. And then you also have an additional hit of purple paint for the lining. On his arms, they're mostly grey with some purple on the side and the back. Over here, also very nicely and sharply applied paint applications on his stomach with the metallic red paint and then some purple lining as well. And then on his legs, they're just mostly grey plastic with a hit of red and yellow over here on the side of his legs. Moving on to articulation, he's got a head on his swivel that goes 360. There is some obstruction with, of course, the shoulder blocks that will tend to get you some rubbing and a bit of deformation on the front sides of his helmet, but that's really not noticeable. He's got ball jointed shoulders that go out this much and then it goes all the way up. There's a bit of interference with the wings on the back. Single jointed elbows, no wrist swivel. He's got a waist swivel that of course goes 360, and he's got wing articulation as well that goes outwards for some crazy wing poses. Moving on to the waist articulation, he's actually got a kind of cover on the front that you can always flip up so that you can get his legs to move forward and backward that much. Ball jointed at the hips, so they move out and do the full splits as well. And then a thigh swivel as well as single jointed knees. And last but not least, he's got ankle articulation as well with a pivot, pretty good pivot both in and outward, as well as the ankle tilt downwards because of a transformation joint right here, but not much ankle tilt upwards. And of course he holds his rifles really nicely like so. And if you notice that because of his robot mode, it's quite likely that you will have interference with the wings, but you can move them out a little bit to try to get poses that you want. And the wings also tend to interfere with these panels on the back sides of his leg, and these panels don't actually tab in anywhere, so they're just pretty much swinging around. That might be a little annoyance to some people. And what's worth pointing out is that we have an additional 2 points of articulation in the waist swivel as well as the ankle pivot that we don't normally get with Hasbro Legend scale. And with the generous ankle pivot, you can get him into a one-legged running pose, like he's catching his own flight or train. For size comparisons, he stands at roughly 12.5 centimeters or just under 5 inches. And over here you can see him with two standard Hasbro Legends class figures as well as Max Fans Toys Camera Brothers, or they are a reflector. And over here he looks fine size-wise with the smaller characters. And here he is with Max Fans Toys Starscream and their version of Megatron. Now looking at this size comparison, you can sort of feel that he's kind of small right now. He's just probably a hair taller than Megatron. So I feel that he should be a little bit bigger than that. And here we have him with a Hasbro Deluxe Misfire and Voyager Hotlink. Moving into transformation to train mode, you turn his head around first, 180. Onto his arms, you turn them inside, 90 degrees. Flip the panel on the back as well as the front. Flip his fist in. Close them up. Same on the other side. Turn it around to this back. Flip up the backpack now. Flip up this panel. Now turn this thrusters 180. Move him to his front. This should cover the head section and tab in. Now tuck his arms back in to his back, like so. After moving the arms to the back, you don't have to tab them in yet. And here's a tip with the feet. You gotta make sure that this foot panel aligns with this panel over here, like so. Do the same on the other side. You can flip the side panels down now and then put his legs together. Moving to the back again, putting his legs together. Now into this part, you gotta make sure that this tabs in to this slot over here on the inside of this panel. And once you tap these in, like so, you can tap the arms in as well. Sliding the wings down and then putting it down on the side. Be careful that there is a corner over here to watch out for. You might get a little bit of friction and rubbing, some damage. And then fold the wing down below the train. There's another tab over here to look out for into this slot. Same on the other side. And here he is in his train mode. You can see that he has two tabs over here that will go into the sides of the handles of the rifle. And it fits in quite snugly on both sides, compressing the arms together. And here he is in his train mode. So you can see he's got really nice wheel details as well as a hit of yellow paint over here. It's mostly purple anyway, with some metallic paint over here for the wheels. And with that tip for the feet just now, by aligning them up, you will notice that you have the front of the train nicely transformed. And without lining up the feet, you would see that this part will be recessed inwards and it will be quite unsightly. And moving on to the other side, we see more of the same. On the back, he has some really nicely painted thrusters as well, just to give that train mode a little boost. In train mode, he is about 12 centimeters long. That's roughly 4 3/4 inches. Size comparison wise, here he is with Outback and Starscream, and you can tell that these two are just way out of scale, while he looks really good in scale wise with Starscream. And here he is with Deluxe Misfire and Voyager Hotlink. Transforming into shuttle mode, you're just gonna have to, basically flip him upside down, just like the G1 toy. So first you gotta do is open up the side panels, like so. Rotate the wings. Now you have to split him by the arms as well as by the legs. And of course, you have to flip these panels upwards. Over to the bottom now, move his leg panels out. Lower his legs a little bit, not all the way. Moving on to the insides of the legs, move the feet inward, open up this panel, then flip this plain nose cone this way. Now you have to flip this panel as well. And then move the feet into the body, closing this panel again. It's the same on the other side. Now to move these panels into themselves, while at the same time keeping the arms over here still untapped. And you have to make sure that this purple panel stays outside of this. Now you put the fuselage together. Moving on to the bottom, make sure that again these tabs move into the slots over here. And you can tap everything together now. Back to the front, moving these tabs down. Swing the wings up and so, and then the wings will tab in between the slot here. Same on the other side. And finally you get the tail fin up. And we have him in shuttle mode. Taking a closer look at shuttle mode, you can see that he's got nice grey paint applications, as well as the use of a transparent yellow plastic just to have the windshield. And then he's got red and yellow paint hit over here. The back part of the fuselage is where I guess everything doesn't look so cohesive anymore, with a lot of gaps and panels. Moving to the back, we see the same thrusters that were in the train mode, and pretty much the same on the other side as well. And he can fit his weapons into the ports over here on the rear side, and the weapons kind of cover up the panels and the gaps at the back. On the bottom of the space shuttle mode, he's got sculpted sort of wheels over here, 3 wheels that hold him up but they don't roll, so he looks quite nicely supported on the ground like so. And as for his last accessory, it fits in over here in the gap, and I suppose this is a flight adapter stand that you can use with Gundam stands. In shuttle mode, he is about 14 centimeters long or 5.5 inches. Size comparisons wise, here he is with Outback and Starscream again. He looks out of scale with Outback, but pretty good with Starscream's F-15. And here's a comparison with Deluxe Misfire and Voyager Hotlink. So some final thoughts on this guy. I'll start with the negatives. He might be a bit small for some collectors, even though he is still taller than Megatron. But I think some collectors would still like him to be bigger. He does have this panel that doesn't tab in and tends to get in the way of the other parts of the bot mode, especially when posing. And lastly, he has those gaps in the shuttle mode that do not look so good. On to the positives, I think that his sculpt is pretty decent, and that's aided by very sharp application of the paints that bring out his character and the details in the various modes. He has generous ankle articulation with a hip swivel, as well as articulation in the wings, and that gives a pretty dramatic pose that you can get out of him considering the legend scale. And he's got pretty good mixed use of materials, especially with the transparent yellow windows on the shuttle mode. And overall, I think he accomplishes all three modes pretty well, and that's what we can hope for in the legend scale. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.